Because if you're going to come to this table, and for all of you that have aspirations of running for office, for whatever lived experience and identity that you represent, if you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice.
The greatest racism I have experienced racism, comes from the modern left at a scale unimaginable, because I think they feel a sense of betrayal, saying that you're not speaking in the tone that you're supposed to. You literally did. So Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, I believe not putting words in anybody else's mouth. I believe taking people at their own terms on their own words. Right? So I don't believe in straw men. Ayanna Pressley, she's in the Congress today. She's a member of the squad. Her words, not mine. We don't want any more black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't want any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. Literally word for word. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. Ibram Kendi wrote the book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. I wrote Woke Inc. It was a pretty successful book. His sold more copies than mine. Here's what it says. Opening lines. The remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination. The remedy to present discrimination is future discrimination. So the other side will gaslight you when you say this stuff. It's like, oh, you're just making that critical race theory stuff up. No. These aren't my words. These are the words of the modern grand wizards of the modern KKK.
What's your response, especially on a weekend when we're reminded of the deadly impact this kind of hateful rhetoric can have?
Reverend Al, the verbal assault lobbied against myself and Dr. Kendi is shameful, it is deeply offensive, and it is dangerous.
You shouldn't have been talking shit.
Hey guys, so we're going to go over the recent quote-unquote controversy in regards to the recent remarks Vivek Ramaswamy made towards Representative Ayanna Pressley and Ibram Kendi. Now, you saw the first clip, and that was from a few years ago, and the recent clips from Ayanna Pressley and Vivek Ramaswamy were just last week. But I thought it was important to go over this because, in my opinion, Republicans, for the most part, are spineless. They say a lot of things, but they don't actually do. Now, in this case, yes, Vivek just said some remarks, but these remarks, to me, were, I guess, controversial to the mainstream, so much so that people are talking about it. And for some reason, I missed this clip. I don't know how this slipped by me, but I thought it was worth talking about. Now, the question is there truth to what he's saying? Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to get notified of future videos. And with that, let's take a look.
First of all, thank you for being here and engaging us in this conversation. I want to start with comments you made repeatedly now, referring to Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and author Ibram Kendi as, quote, grand wizards of the modern KKK. Now, I understand you differ with both of them politically and probably with me. But as a graduate of Harvard and Yale universities, I believe you must be aware the Ku Klux Klan is not a political party. It's a terrorist organization. Historians view the Klan as the driving force behind lynchings of blacks in the American South, more than 4,000 people murdered from 1877 to 1950. And the group is linked to numerous other acts of racial violence continuing through the civil rights movement to the present day. You're running to be the leader of the free world, so your choice of words matter. Have you taken any time to reflect upon the possibility that comparing your political rivals to murderous terrorists might put their lives in danger at a time when hate crimes are on the rise? Or do you just don't care?
So Reverend Sharpton, I don't look at the world through political parties. Frankly, it's good to see it's been 20 years since we last spoke. And part of the reason that I came to that event 20 years ago with you is that you were a political outsider just like I am in my own party. But let me talk about the issue you're actually asking about, which is that, you know, what's toxic about that old worldview of organizations like the KKK, which have been a god-awful stain on our national history, is that they say that your skin color determines what you're allowed to say, what you're allowed to think. To say you have to shut up, sit down, and do as you're told because you're black or brown-skinned. Well, you know what Ayanna Pressley said much more recently is that we don't want any more black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't want any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. And so, yes, I do think there are echoes of a historical ugly racism in this country now showing up in new clothing.
To say we don't.
Yeah, I think so too. I think people that are, you know, talking like Gabriel X. Kendi and Ayanna Pressley and others who think like they do, I think they can get away with racial comments, racism, and that they can't be touched because they're black, you know. And I think a lot of black Democrats, in terms like black congressmen or women, they want you to have an opinion that's not outside the box, you know. They don't want you to speak out of turn, like Maxine Waters. She doesn't want you to speak out of turn or she'll call you out, you know. And I'm like, wait, who are you to me? Who made you the arbiter of speech? Who made you the arbiter of free thought? You know, how does that work? You know, and in a way, not in a way, but this is a form of racism. It's a form of stifling speech, stifling free thought, controlling how someone should act, how someone should think, what someone should say. And that is the opposite of what this country is supposed to represent. Now, no one's calling out those two and many others who act that way or sound that way because of backlash. Again, the Republicans, I find, are spineless, and a lot of them don't want to say anything. But I'll give props to Vivek Ramaswamy because he's actually saying something that there is some truth to. Who are you to determine what, quote unquote, the brown voice is or the black voice is? Are you telling me that if it doesn't fit your narrative, then I should shut up and not say anything? I don't believe or agree with most, if not all, of what Ayanna Pressley says. Am I supposed to shut up and not say anything? Do I not have a voice now? I'm sure many Indians or Hispanics don't believe what Ayanna Pressley says or Gabriel X. Kendi says. Are they supposed to shut up too? And by the way, I don't agree with what X. Kendi is saying either. But who made them the arbiters of speech?
What I want to lead us to as the next president
just a second.
is a
to say
united
that we
nation
do not want
where we
black
don't actually
voices,
judge each other on the
to
color of our
say
skin.
that is not going with sheets and burning crosses and lynching people. If she said something you disagree
but
with,
the point I'm making.
See, he's going to the extreme. That we're not talking about those acts that the KKK did, you know, burning crosses, sheets, killing, all the things, heinous acts they did. We're talking about the rhetoric, the words they would use back then, and the words that we're hearing now from these, to me, communist people who say they're Democrat, which really now is just communist Marxists. Okay, these words that they get away with, no backlash, but I'm sure many people in their homes are saying this person, whether it's Ayanna Pressley, Kendi, or whomever else says it, they're probably saying at their homes, oh look, these people are racist, but they can't come out and say it because they get backlash for it.
You cannot equate Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan with somebody saying something that you think is a little controversial or a little too far. Some of our relatives were terrorized by the Ku Klux Klan. I'm trying to get you to
Reverend
understand
Sharpton, I know
the pain
you're intellectually honest, I know you're an intellectually honest guy, and so I will remind you that Hakeem Jeffries drew analogies between Donald Trump and the Ku Klux Klan, and I don't think you had him on pressing him in the same way. So we're drawing analogies here.
See, intellectually honest, I would say that Al Sharpton, or Sharp Tongue, yeah, he sold out a long time ago. I mean, you all know the story about that woman who I think allegedly said she was sexually assaulted or something. It was years ago when Al Sharpton was, I guess, double in size. But we knew he was a swindler or a charlatan back then, and he's still the same now. He just wears a suit and he's thinner. That's all it is. That's all it is. Al Sharpton is the same guy he was 20, 25, 30 years ago.
He did not call Donald Trump the grand dragon of the KKK. He did not call Donald Trump an officer of the modern KKK. Let's not change what was said.
So, Reverend Sharpton, though, I'm calling out a double standard and saying that certain people can use certain analogies to make a point. Well, I'm using an analogy to make a point. And the point I'm making is we should stop seeing each other on the basis of our skin color. It was god-awful when the KKK did it. But you know what? We have to learn a lesson in the present that we're creating more racial division in this country.
But you
when
cannot
you say if
do
you
it
have black skin, you can only think one thing.
You cannot do it being insensitive to our feelings. Like, that's...
Yeah, insensitive to our feelings. It's not sensitive to me. I mean, he's just saying what he believes is true. But so he can't say anything because I have to watch out for what this person X or person Y says. I mean, come on, what are you talking about? It's all freedom of speech. You don't have to like what he says. You don't have to like what he says. You don't have to agree with what he says. It's an opinion. He may be right, he may be wrong, but it's an opinion that he shared to the public. That's it. Again, who are you to be the arbiter of what someone can and cannot say?
Like calling somebody of any kind of group that had a group that were terrorizing.
So I agree with you. We need sensitivity.
So I think we need to be very careful about that. And I wanted to raise that with you directly. Let me go to my next point.
I'm going to end it right here. He goes into whether he would pardon Trump. We all know he would pardon Trump, and I'm glad he's going to pardon Trump. If Vivek was running as a Democrat, they would love him. But he's not. Who does? Who wants to anyway? Really? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to get notified of future videos. And until the next one, take care.